They didn't rob the bank at gunpoint. Prosecutors say they made the bank's own machines hand over the cash, one ATM at a time. And the people accused of doing it weren't just skimming cards or cloning numbers. According to federal investigators, they built a moving criminal system. Malware specialists, street crews, drivers, lookouts, and cash mules. One name sits over the case like a shadow. Tren de Aragua. The prison-born gang prosecutors say helped connect violence on the street with precision inside the machine. What grabs me here is the reversal. Usually, a robber forces a teller to open a drawer. In this case, investigators say the drawer opened itself. The public version sounds simple. A gang hit ATMs. Cash came out. Arrests followed. But when I read through the charging details and reporting around the alleged conspiracy, it looked less like random theft and more like a distributed cyber-physical pipeline. Software on one end, sneakers on the other. Money moving through the middle. The victim here wasn't one confused customer. It was the ATM network itself and the banks behind it. Machines that are supposed to verify, count, and deny suddenly became obedient dispensers. That matters because an ATM is basically a vault with a user interface. Once that trust breaks, the whole promise of convenience starts to look fragile. So what are we really looking at? Not a classic bank robbery. Not a skimmer glued to a card slot. According to prosecutors, this was jackpotting, a form of ATM attack where criminals allegedly manipulate the machine so it spits out cash on command. High level, no how-to, just the shape of the crime. And within the first layer of the case, there's already a human story. Federal documents and media reports describe crews moving across multiple states, hitting locations in sequence, withdrawing cash from machines that were never supposed to surrender it like that. Parking lots, convenience stores, late-night vestibules, the kind of places you pass without looking twice. According to prosecutors, the alleged conspiracy worked because each piece did one narrow job. One group handled access to the machines or the malicious tools. Another handled transport. Another physically collected the bills as they came out. That division matters. It's one of the oldest tricks in organized crime. Break the operation into pieces so no one person appears to own the whole machine. And that is the thesis of this case. The real danger wasn't just malware, it was coordination. An ordinary ATM became dangerous only when software, logistics, and organized street manpower all lined up at the same moment. When I read cases like this, that's the part that stays with me. We spend a lot of time talking about code. Sometimes the real force multiplier is scheduling. Think about that for a second. How many crimes fail because one person shows up late, panics, or talks too much? Prosecutors say this one allegedly scaled because the digital side and the physical side met perfectly in the parking lot. That's chilling. So let me ask you this. In a case like this, what failed harder? The machine security or the real-world controls around it? Drop your answer in the comments. To understand the method, you have to start with what jackpotting is not. It is not a customer tricking the ATM with a stolen card. It is not a fake keypad harvesting pins. Investigators describe something more direct. The machine itself is allegedly coerced into dispensing cash outside its normal logic. Different cases around the world have used different tools and tactics, but in this conspiracy, Prosecutors focus on crews, movement, and coordinated execution across the United States, rather than a lone hacker in a dark room. That distinction is important because it changes the image in your head. This is not one genius operator. It's a criminal supply chain. Someone gets capability. Someone moves people. Someone scouts machines. Someone stands there with a bag when the cash starts pouring. And somebody higher up allegedly makes sure the money doesn't stay in one place for long. That is where the alleged link to Tren de Aragua becomes significant in the way prosecutors frame the case. Not because the gang magically invented the technique, but because investigators say organized infrastructure helped scale it. Cars, routes, personnel, collection, fear, discipline. The things that let a cyber-enabled crime leave the screen and become physical money in a duffel bag. A lot of people hear cybercrime and picture a teenager in a hoodie. I think that image is getting dangerously outdated. In cases like this, the keyboard is only the first domino. The last domino is a human being standing beside a machine at 2:13 in the morning, feeding bundles of bills into a getaway workflow. Urgent. And the timeline matters. Prosecutors say crews allegedly traveled, hit machines, collected money, and moved on before patterns were fully connected. That speed is part of the weapon. A single suspicious ATM event can look like a technical fault. 10 similar events in different places start to look like a campaign. This is where the impact spreads beyond the machine. Banks don't just lose physical cash. They absorb investigation costs, emergency response, machine downtime, fraud reviews, camera pulls, legal exposure, insurance friction, vendor scrutiny. Then customers show up and find an out-of-service screen where trust used to be. A blinking error message, a locked vestibule, a paycheck still waiting to be accessed. That concrete part matters to me because phrases like multi-state conspiracy can sound abstract. But the real-world version is a night shift worker stopping for cash before sunrise and finding the machine dead. It's a store owner answering questions they can't answer. It's a bank branch manager trying to explain why a box full of money suddenly acted like it belonged to somebody else. And there's another layer. Prosecutors are not just alleging theft, they're describing an organized system that merged technical manipulation with street enforcement logic. That combination is what makes this case feel different from the old image of ATM fraud. This wasn't about fooling one customer. It was about allegedly turning infrastructure into a servant. If that detail hits you as hard as it hit me when I dug through this case, leave a like. This is exactly the kind of crime that deserves a lot more attention than it gets. And now we get to the part that I think most headlines miss. The machine is only half the story. The other half is geography. Once cash comes out, the crime stops being digital and starts becoming logistical. Who picks it up? Where does it go? How fast is it moved? Who counts it? Who takes the risk on camera? And who stays far enough away to deny everything? Those questions matter because they tell you whether you're looking at random thieves or a repeatable criminal architecture. And according to prosecutors, this looked repeatable. Multi-state movement, multiple participants, an alleged hierarchy. Not chaos, process. Here's the turn in the case. The most unsettling detail may not be that the ATMs dispensed cash. It's that investigators say this could be scaled by combining relatively ordinary field crews with specialized technical capability. In other words, The rare thing wasn't necessarily finding people willing to stand at the machine. The rare thing was building the bridge between code and crew. Once that bridge existed, the operation could allegedly travel. And that changes the way you should think about cybercrime. The threat is no longer just remote access. It's remote access plus local labor. Malware plus transportation. A command plus a car key. To me, that's one of the clearest signs that some cyber cases now behave like franchise crime. Different faces, same method, same cash-out logic. If you like understanding how crimes like this actually work beneath the headlines, subscribe. I cover a new true crime tech case here every week, and the details usually get stranger the deeper you go. There's also a legal wrinkle hanging over stories like this. Federal cases often arrive before the public gets the full technical picture. That means the narrative is shaped by indictments, affidavits, arrests, and what investigators can prove in court, not by every operational detail people online speculate about. That's a good thing. It keeps us anchored to evidence. My view? Cases like this expose a blind spot that banks and ATM operators have lived with for too long. Security teams tend to separate cyber from physical crime because different departments own different risks. But the attackers do not respect that boundary. Why would they? If the machine sits in the real world, the crime will too. And that may be the most important legacy of this alleged 2026 conspiracy. It suggests the future of cash theft is less about one clever exploit and more about disciplined coordination across domains. Not one mastermind doing movie magic. A system, a route, a schedule, a machine waiting for the wrong command. So when you hear ATM fraud, ask a harder question. Was it fraud in the old sense? Or was it organized infrastructure using technology to make a vault behave like a vending machine? That difference matters. One is a scam. The other is an industrial model. And if prosecutors prove this case the way they say they can, then the most disturbing lesson is simple. The gun never had to come out. The machine did the surrendering on its own. If true crime tech is your lane, subscribe and turn on notifications. Around here, the details come from charging documents and reporting, not just headlines. And next week's case goes even deeper into the machinery behind digital crime.